Gamers, Tom Seidner.
Nick Jones with Titan Games.
And today we're going to talk about some games that you should play with people who've never played games before. These are really starter games, or what they call gateway games. And all these games you can get here at Titan Games, and we're going to tell you a little bit about them. So we're going to start out with Ticket to Ride, and Nick's going to tell you a little bit about that.
So Ticket to Ride is a fantastic game. It focuses on the building mechanic, where you're trying to use cards from your hand or get cards that will allow you to complete routes to earn victory points. And you can, as the game plays out, draw extra routes, get extra victory points. It's really a pretty straightforward game when it comes down to the actual mechanics of it. And it's got a ton of cute little trains in it. It's a great game you can play with a lot of younger kids too, even. I think actually most of the games we're going to talk about here, you can play with fairly young children. I don't know what the recommended age on this one is, but I know obviously it depends on your child's abilities, but you can play it down to 10 years old pretty easily.
This game comes with a board that's the picture of the map of the United States, and so this is actually kind of an educational game as well, because kids can actually learn where a lot of the different cities are in the United States, because you have to build train routes to go from one city to another. You may have to build a train route to go from Chicago to Miami or something like that, and so it actually has a little bit of an educational aspect to it as well.
And there's expansions and additional games that have maps for Germany, Europe, Africa, India, Asia Pacific, all kinds of different areas. So if you really like this game, each one of those maps kind of has a little bit of a twist to it as well that adds to the game, makes it a little bit different for you.
So some of the concepts in this game are set collection, because you're collecting colored cards, and also route building, because you're building routes with the trains.
Correct.
Okay. The next game we're going to talk about is a kind of a sci-fi type game that's called King of Tokyo.
Yeah. So I really like this game because of its beauty and its simplicity. Essentially every turn you're going to roll some dice and you're trying to either get victory points or deal damage to your opponents. And those are the two ways to win. Either be the last huge thing in Tokyo surviving, or automatically get to the 20 victory points and you just win no matter how many people are still alive in town.
So this game, you're playing a monster like King Kong. They don't call him King Kong. They have funny names for him, but like King Kong or something like that. And you're trying to take over Tokyo. And there's a lot of decision making in this game. So if you have kids or adults that like decision making games, you have to decide: am I going to go into Tokyo and try to stay there and control it, or am I going to get out and try to heal myself? And the other players are trying to make decisions: or am I trying to knock him out, or am I just trying to get victory points for myself? So there's a lot of decision making in the game. It's a very fast game. It is a dice game, so one of the concepts in the game is dice rolling. So you're rolling dice, and then you're trying to get the different dice faces to do the things in the game that you're trying to do.
Right, so on your turn, you have the opportunity to roll a dice 3 times, and you can keep any dice you want to. So you roll once, keep any dice you want to, re-roll what's left, do it again, and then you resolve your effects that you have available to you.
So, if you're looking for a game that's like sci-fi oriented, you like the kind of wacky characters to play, then King of Tokyo may be one that you'd be interested in.
Yeah, for sure.
The next game we're going to talk about is a classic. This game has been around for a long time, and it is Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, so like Tom said, this has been around a long time. This is actually a game that got me back into board gaming. I board gamed in high school quite a bit, but then sort of got away from it through college and early life. And then some friends broke out Catan one night, and we got back involved with it, and now I'm here at Titan Games permanently. But yeah, it's a great game. Again, another game that's beautiful because of its simplicity. You're trying to build roads and cities and settlements to earn victory points, and you're trying to get to 11 victory points typically. There's some game variants that change that. But again, you're trying to collect resources, build stuff, earn victory points.
Yeah, some of the concepts in Catan are resource management. So you've got some resources like sheep and wood and stone and wheat and stuff, and you're trying to manage those resources. You've got resource production that you're trying to put your guys in certain places to produce those, and then those items that you're producing and managing are going to be used to create cities and stuff like that, which will gain you points in the game and win you the game.
Correct. One of the reasons that Catan's been so popular is even when it's not your turn, you're involved with the game. Because everybody on their turn is going to roll some dice that are going to produce resources everywhere on the board, not just for them. So even though it's not your turn, you're going to be collecting those resources that you can, when it comes around to your turn, use to build stuff.
And one of the most popular concepts in Catan is the trading mechanism. So during your turn, you can try to strike deals with other players, and you can try to get them to trade you the resources that you want or that you think they need to try to further yourself in the game.
Correct. The other part about this is the base Catan game, and there's also a Catan Junior version that they say you can play with people as young as 6 years old. I've only played this a couple times. It was a ton of fun. It's, again, the beauty of the simplicity. Super easy to play. You can play with very young children to get them involved with gaming and that decision-making process so they can learn that as well.
Yeah, it takes the concepts in this game that are a little too difficult for smaller children and puts them in a simpler version here. You can also play this game with people who are not gamers. You know, so if you're wanting to just get a simple rule set for Catan, you can actually introduce them to this game, and once they've mastered what's in this game, you can move to the Settlers of Catan as well.
And then beyond the base game, there's a number of expansions, Settlers of the Sea, a bunch of scenarios and other things that you can expand on this game as well.
They even have a Star Trek Catan, so if you're a fan of Star Trek, they even have that. So Catan's been around for a long time, and they've done a lot to it. There's hundreds of expansions for it. There's regular-sized box expansions. There's also mini expansions that they have for it, and so you can really do a lot with Catan. So this is definitely a +1 for your game collection if you don't have it already.
Yeah, it's a great one to have in your collection, and it's a great one to introduce people to games other than Milton Bradley and Hasbro type stuff.
Yes. Okay, the last game we're going to talk about is the one game that we probably don't recommend for smaller children, but it is the game that started the deck building craze.
Yeah, so deck building as a board game really started with Dominion. This is the second edition. They've essentially cleaned up some of the stuff that they've FAQ'd and changed some of the art a little bit. But yeah, second edition of Dominion. It is the deck building game that most people learn first. It's a mechanic that's involved with a lot of more in-depth games as part of it. But this is strictly the deck building piece, and even just within this box, there's a lot of variance in how you set up the game, what's available to purchase, and how you win.
Yeah, this is the game that actually pushed me from dungeon crawl games to regular board games. When I first got into board games, I played like Descent and games like that were dungeon crawls. And then one day, one of my buddies brought out Dominion, and I played it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is really fun. And I enjoyed it so much that I actually showed my mom, who's older, and she fell in love with the game, and it became her favorite game as well. So this is a game that kind of will really draw you in and really kind of make you want to play this game.
Yeah, and again, while we don't recommend it for very young children, you can play with people as young as 10 or 12 based on their abilities. I believe the game recommends 14 plus, but it's really about that ability to have patience and sit there and play a game.
Yeah, and also the ability to read well, because there is writing on the cards, and so you do have to kind of read the cards and figure out what they do and everything. But real good game. This game sparked a generation of games. So if you've got friends that are fans of the DC deck building game or any of the other deck building games that are out there, go play this if you haven't played it, because it's a really good game.
It is literally the game that started all that stuff.
Yep.
All right.
All right, well, that's it for this week. We will see you again next week and talk about some more games.
Have a good one.
This video was provided by The Lonely Gamer. To see more of our news, reviews, and videos, please visit us at lonelytabletopgamer.com.